Hello. Good morning. Um, so, last time we did some stuff, but as I do, I'm going to restart our notebook and then I'm going to hit run all. And one thing that I also want to do is this notebook is going to have more than importing the data, it's going to have some scrubbed data as well. Um, and we're going to talk a little bit about what scrubbing actually means today. Um, so I think last time we added some concentrations and the trial numbers to um, our data frames. We have our concentration in micrograms per liter and the trial now associated with our times and our temperatures. Okay, so I've been doing some thinking, and it has to do with this trial particular label, and I think that we're going to end up dropping that. But something that we need to do is we actually need to import these start times from our original raw data before we do anything else, and that's because a couple of streams ago we actually found out that the start time or the collection start time for time and for temperature is different, and so we want to drop anything where we're not actively collecting the temperature. Um, Additionally, we discussed our future model structure last time and external data, and then I have a bunch of splits and stuff. So this is not actually under external data. Let's see here. Create space for data and transformations. That's accurate. Communicate data structure. That's accurate. Pull down data from database. That's accurate. Determine what data is available in files. And this is where we'll need to do some work today. We'll need to pull down these start times. And I want to get the tag name. So this was originally, it's an XML, but if you are familiar with HTML, you can kind of see that there's an open and close tag kind of component to XML. And that's what I'm looking for, is the start time. And the start time is actually in the same type of start time. And this is something that I'm going to need to import, is the time library. I wonder if I can do this. Start time. There we go. And you can see that there's 4 instances of start time. One of them is under this column 0, I think is what it is. Yeah, or column cells and then 0. And we want to get the start times as well. Find all. We got our times and our temps. Insert cell above. Let's try this. Soup. And we want all of these start times. Let's see what we get. Okay. Yeah, so we have 2 start times, and if I call the first one, and then let's call the second one. And dot. Let's see, because last time we were able to get it with the split of the line break. Let's just see if we can get that same thing. none type. Let's see if what happens if we just do split none type. It's not callable. Okay. So I want to get rid of the tags. Let's do, let's call this time start equals let's see, time start, what we're getting there. Now if I do dot split none type, not callable. Oh, I had to make it a string first. Okay, str and dot split, and let's see where we end up. There, I dropped my wrist rest. It's unfortunate. Okay, let's try this a different way. This is going to be annoying, but let's see what happens. List has no attribute split. Then we can do, that's the second variable, dot split, and we should be able to get the other one. Yeah, and if we call out this one, then we can get that, and we should be able to set this as an int variable. Yeah, okay, so that's what we want to do. We want to do time start dot split, and we want to go with our thing here. Now there might be an easier way to do this using some properties of XML, but that's a little bit beyond where I'm at today. So this is definitely my nitty-gritty. Just have to get this particular code done and implemented, and then when I'm cleaning stuff up at the very end, then I'll want to make some adjustments there. So we took our string and we got it done there, and we want to wrap this all up in a neat little integer tag. Okay, time start, and then we'll just fill this in as a column into each data set. We also need to do the same thing for our concentration start, and that's going to look really similar. We want find all. This time, instead of doing the first variable, we'll do the second variable, and it should look exactly the same otherwise. And let's get our time start and our conc start. These are, let's actually do equal to, we have false. So that means we need to subtract out our things. I'm kind of curious about that. So we know that our conc start was after, so let's see by how many ticks. By quite a few ticks. Let's get time start minus the concentration. Okay. And then I want to insert cell above, and I want to import time. And then we can actually convert this to minutes and find out how many minutes we need to drop off of our thing. We've all found out in that kind of explore what was in our header, that the time measurement was in minutes. So the decimal points in that particular section are for minutes. Okay, so we have our time start, and by the way, this is coming from here. We are fully obtain. We are fully done. We've moved on to Scrub. That's why I updated the name of this libraries, because we don't yet have a data set that we can export cleanly to do something different in the Explore library. So we have create treatment plan. Are there 3 for every concentration? We basically just need to prove that that's the case. But this comes from this drop unnecessary data. And here. And so we're talking about trial and time and this drop unnecessary data. So maybe I should kind of, I guess, label what I'm doing. Drop unnecessary. And we are insert cell above. This to be a markdown, and this is the we're dealing with time in this particular case. Then we also discussed dropping the trial data. So let's see what the time library has available for us. Time dot, and then I think, yeah, we can get clock info, local time, make time, process time, sleep, time dot, let's see what, okay, cool. Okay, so this is the time that it is right now. And then we have a different time there. Okay. And you can see if I hit this again, it updates to a new time. And something, let's, time start, start. So you can see that this format is just, it's really similar to what's happening in this time library, but you can tell that this was a significant time ago. So I want to convert this time stuff into measurable seconds. So I'm gonna go to the time documentation Python, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay. Let's go to struct time. Okay, cool. So I think we have this 9-digit. Is this 9? Hold on. We have a 10-digit thing. Through 12. It's interesting. This is not, struck time is not what I want to do, I don't think. Let's just see what happens if we do this struck time. Okay, so here we want to do time. Then let's see what happens with struct time, I believe was the name of it. Yeah, struct time. And then let's pass in, I'm not playing music, I just realized that. Here we go. I didn't even check to make sure if I was talking or not, y'all. Okay. So I'm confirmed talking. That's good. And then I'm gonna put time start here. Constructor requires a sequence. Okay. Check ID. Footnotes. So I think this takes in a 9 variable thing and returns the time variable here, but we want to kind of do the opposite. I wonder if they have a destruct time. That would be really funny. Strife time. To a string as specified by the argument. Let's see here. I'm just gonna copy this one to see what we get. We want to string str ft then ft or f time. Okay, so that's today. What if I take time start, has no attribute, strive time, okay. Dot time, nope. So we know that this is a time, we know that these are time objects. So let's see if we can't figure out first how to get them into a time object, right? Make time. Let's see here. So we know that that works to get the time stuff. Let's see here if we can get, it was time dot make time, right? Make time takes one argument. Let's see if we can pass in time start, tuple, or strict time argument required. I don't think that's time in seconds since the epoch, two-way struct time. Okay, so let's do dot game time. I don't know if that's what it's for, but let's see. Okay, there we go. That's what we need. And then we can pass this into time dot make time, I believe. Okay. Now, okay, so that's how you undo those. This truck time 2013, Monday, hour 18, 17, second 40. Okay, I'm gonna go look up what some of these things mean. Because we have a struck time now, which is good. Okay. So we have, here we have a year, month, day. Okay, so 2013, the 11th. So November 11th at 6 p.m., 6:17 and 40 seconds. The W day, what's that? Weekday. Okay, cool. Monday is 0, so this was on a Monday. Y day. Okay, the number of days in the year. And the time zone is daylight. Oh, it's standard time. Okay. Cool. So that gives us a ton of information, which we can add to our column. Now, if I call on one, yeah, okay. So we want to save this as time start. So we're just gonna kind of write over it. Honestly, we could do time start equals, now that we kind of figured this out, time dot GM time. And I'm gonna do that same thing here. Time dot, maybe it's give me time, I don't know. Was that really the whole page? Okay, it was. Okay. I'm not going to be able to do that particular one, but I'm okay with that. And this is really interesting. Okay. So here we can see under hours and minutes and seconds that we have a significantly different time. Okay, that's really interesting. I'm curious. This is not 7 minutes later. This is like 20 minutes later. That's insane. Okay. Um, yeah, so whenever I first saw this time variable, uh, this right here, I knew that this was a printout of a computer generated uh, time because I recognize the format because I've been using time in other projects and whatnot. So I immediately knew that was a time. What's kind of crazy to me is how different these times are. That's crazy. So, and this is I don't think that this is the time. Hold on. We're going to have to go back and read about more about this start time stuff. And the reason why I say that, yeah, column data type. Let's time of day. I want to find the, yeah, column cells. So this is after that first row is collected, and this is genuinely for the second column of data. And that's something too that I think we put down kind of at the very end were what the actual input parameters were. This test was designed to last for 7 minutes, and it had a very specific ramp rate. And so what I'm trying to think is, I don't think it took, 30 minutes, because that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's not 30, it's like 24 minutes or something for the GC to cool down again. I don't think that was time beginning and time ending. I genuinely think this is different collection times. That's crazy to me. So I am very curious because this is only for one. This soup is only for one thing, right? Yeah, because this is before we do the. Yeah, it's before we do this. Okay. And this is the management of the fourth one. We with soup and we open that specific file. And now what I'm looking for is for when we open all the files. I think it's here, yeah. We got our file list name in order. And we did it here. Yeah. And range 0, length of file names. Okay, so this is where we're going to be doing some additional work. And I just want to know what to put into this function to make sure that it ends up in each table like it's supposed to. But that's crazy to me that they're so different. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. So we need to take the hour, the minute, and the second for sure. I do not believe that any of these crossed over a full day, but maybe we'll capture the day too, just to be fairly certain. We could, why not pull them all in? Okay, so we want to do, so we have these time starts, right? And we can get rid of this particular thing. We don't really need that. This was really helpful in figuring out what we needed to do here, but I'm going to leave that right quick. However, we did just figure out something kind of big, so I'm going to go ahead and make a commit for that. Git status, I'm going to git add. We want to add our first notebook here, import data. And we also want to add our new notebook name here, and now we can see that we've renamed it. And I'm going to commit that as rename notebook to more accurately reflect contents. And I'm gonna leave that. And let's do get status. And now we have that. It's been modified, but not necessarily how. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit a save to create a temporary file. And here we'll be able to see, again, that it's been modified. We're going to add this notebook. Get status, we've added it, get commit, message. I'm not going to say that we added time because we haven't added it, but we did find where data collection start time is applied. And once we get that added into our notebook and in the way that we want, then we'll go from there. Okay, so if we do time start year is equal to, I don't want to do that. It's more like, do we have a DF yet? I don't think we have a DF yet. By DF, I mean a data frame. I think we just have these floating columns of data right now. But we do know that if we read this N, and if we do 0 after it, we'll get the year. If we do 1, then we'll get the month. If we do 2, then we'll get the day. Then if we do 3, then we'll get the hour. 4, we'll get the minute. 5, we'll get the second. 6 will give us the week, day. 8 will give us the day of the year out of 365, and then the last value, 9, will give us the particular daylight savings time that is active or not active. We do know that, and I do think that that is enough to get us started. We also know that our time start and our concentration start are different. What's really interesting is we can actually add it's that time difference is crazy to me because the entire test ran longer than that. And I'm trying to remember here, do I have any notes about start times? Data set. Start time is different from time start time. It's the time, like when time started being collected and then when signals started being collected. And they're just so different. Maybe this is the difference between when I opened the application, but the time is after the signal time. Maybe I ran the test and afterwards the time was populated. I don't know. This is crazy weird to me. So now that we have this kind of figured out, I want to go in to where this is here, where we have all of our files. And I want to add a new section. And we need to do for this is us making them into floats. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and copy what we did up here with time. That's so crazy. Time. I want to copy this. Did I not start modifying somewhere? I thought I did. It has to be here. Okay. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. Okay, so we get our soup, and it's a different file name each time. We get our soup, and then in soup, it's not even adding anything. Let me do here, df. Let's do our year collected. Let's do time year collected. Equals this value with a 0 at the front. And let's do month collected. With a 1. I just want to see the output right quick. So we can get the year, the month, df, time, it's month, day, collected. It's our second value. And the reason why I'm putting time at the beginning is because these are specific to time. Okay, then this is going to be the hour. Collected. It's our fourth value, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. And then our minute collected. Then we can get our second collected. It's going to be an our sixth variable. Time day of the week collected. This is 6. Time day of the year collected. And then our last variable here is going to be our daylight savings time info. When okay, that needs to be 8. And then we're gonna do the same thing. This is so ugly. And our nice, pretty function here. Then we want to do signal. And this start time needs to be 1. For all of these, I'm going to go ahead and update it for all of these. Okay. Okay. That went pretty fast. Let's see here what we've got. Year collected, month collected, day collected, hour, time. What I'm curious about is if we can get our seconds on each row like added, if that makes sense. Like we can take our second collected here and add our decimal point here. That would be very interesting to me. But right now they're in different. One of them is, you know, base 60 and one of them is base 100. So we need to do some maths before we can do that. But yeah, we've got all of our time and signal and woof. Let's see here on this trial 3 hour collected. So 7 p.m., 7:20, or 7:18, 27, 7:16. So that one's a little bit better. That one is a little bit better. Now remember, the whole reason why we're doing this is to figure out how much dead space we have at the beginning of our data. It looks like the machine did get warmed up. So we've got our second, so 6:47 there, and 6:48 there. So that's a lot better. Okay. So now, okay, so now that we've got that, I'm going to restart and I'm going to run all. And we should see a pretty different, yeah, this is what I was wanting to see. On our conks here, which is our list of data frames, we have time and temperature, which is great. Then we have our year, month, day, hour. I think I'm going to clean up these title names a little bit. That's a lot to type. I'm going to get rid of the word collected. And we're going to go with some colloquial terms here. Weekday. And then I'm going to do year, day. Okay. Now we are going to restart. We're going to run all. And then double check our titles. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay. Now, while this is for dropping unnecessary data, we're not actually evaluating that here. We are obtaining additional data needed to ensure data integrity. Pretty. To make decisions about dropping later on. I don't really know how else, like, this is, the idea is that each section in here kind of matches what's happening here, right? So we kind of need a different card here. And I'm gonna, instead of obtain, let's do obtain additional data. Obtain, it's not additional, it's header data needed to make decisions. Header data needed to ensure data integrity. Let's do that. And this is something that we're doing so that we can add a task. Now, I know I've been talking about Agile in some of my streams. This would be an example of me, the data scientist, going to my manager and saying, hey, just so you know, you've assigned me this task to work on this week. However, I want you to know that I needed to do this additional step that's kind of outside of the scope of that particular work task to be able to complete that work task. So I'm going to add a card here. And I'm going to do as a data scientist, I need to obtain header data I need to obtain header data about a start time for each column, present and raw data, so that, and the business value here is we can remove bias that selects for temperatures closer to room temperature, since the signal collection start time is different than the start time of the data. So what I'm curious about too, and our acceptance criteria here is when I view a data frame, information about time and signal start time is included, which is, you know, exactly what we've just seen here at the very end. We have all of our data written into the workspace, and it includes time, year, and then signal year. This is done now. This has to do with primarily with the code. This was a data scientist task. And this is a story. The card size that we're going to go with here is 2. This was a pretty easy task. We're going to spin those 2. And now we're going to add that to our sprint here. And actually, I got the wrong thing. I need the share link. And this took approximately 1 hour. This is done. So we actually did this first before we kind of did anything else. The other things that we could be working on today, I haven't even added all the story points for this new sprint. Okay, maybe we should do that. Treatment plan for overall structure of data. Trials are similar enough. Are there 3 trials for every concentration? Need to do that. And then evaluate data types. This is going in, and I think right now, if I were to look at, I've done this. I don't know if it's in a usable form yet or not, but it has been completed. We do have our time and our signal columns and the time that we started collection for those listed. Still crazy to me that the signal time is first. I think maybe if the signal time is first, then maybe we don't have, I don't know. All I know is that whenever I started using the GC, like the first trial, it took forever to get it set up and the instrument warmed up and stuff, because even if it's not, it's not just like a plug and play thing. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily usable right now. I'm kind of curious. For I and conks, so this should take each data frame. And I'm gonna do I, and the name should be the same in all of them. Time, let's do our, is equal to I, time, or not time, let's do signal, signal hour. And we should get a printout. I guess we have to force it to print, I guess. Print. Let's do a some. Actually, I want to phrase this differently. Let's do does not equal, because false is equal to 0 in Python. So we're going to do does not equal. And then we're getting false sometimes. That's good. And then I want to print out a sum each time that happens. And we should get, yeah. And then let's do, for IN, range from 0 to the length of conks. Let's do conks I then here, let's do conx I, and then we should be able to print out file names I to figure out for which trials it's not the same. Okay. And I want we're gonna print something else out, but we're gonna break our code to do it. Let's do some conx I, and we want to look at the time in minutes. Then I kind of want to be able to, I want to print out of, for each trial, and how many minutes different they are. I think it's minute. I don't think it's minutes. Yeah. That's interesting. So for this one, the hour is different, but the minutes are the same. And then let's get another printed out. And I think, yeah, let's check to see for that one where it was the same. Let's look at the second to see if the seconds was different. Yeah, the seconds are different. Okay. This, I would say this is the pattern. No. I don't think any of them have the pattern that I was expecting. Now, I'm gonna do if it's not equal 0, then I want to, and this is hard because let's actually do the same thing here. Let's do the same thing because right now it does not equal, right? Let's do is greater than, and let's see. Yeah, there's a section of them where it's not greater. The hour is not greater. And what does that mean? That the hour is not greater? It could mean that it's after midnight. In which case we want to pull the day down as well, right? That's not what I wanted to do. Let's do this, and this, and hit enter. Let's change this to day. Okay. Yeah, there's one where it's a different day. It's just different everything. Let's do print I. Okay. Let's get the index for that one. Let's get the 38. Okay, so conx 38. Let's look at that one. Okay, we have our time day here. We have our signal day. Our signal started collecting the 19 versus that's crazy to me. Okay, so November 6th, we started collecting at 7 p.m., but the time didn't start collecting until after midnight the following day. So I'm thinking here that we might need to do some additional research, right? Do some additional research into start time on mini GCs from Veneer, because I don't think it means what we think it means. I know it's a time thing. I know that it is a computer documented time, but I'm curious about, and this is something that's in the time library here. It's in C. It's kind of like a C library. So I'm wondering if they logged it in C, and if they did, or what we're gonna have to do to kind of parse this information a little bit better. But what we can tell, and this is what I wanted to do for the greater than here. I wanted to look at if the time is always greater than, and I'm going to say greater than or equal to. No, just greater than. I just want greater than. If the time is, or the time collection point is always greater than the signal collection point, in which case we just need the signal collection point. So the day is not greater. For day, I'm going to put greater than or equal to because that makes sense. And that should be 0 for all of them. Yeah, it is. Okay, then we have our hour. Is the hour always greater than? Let's put greater than or equal to. Yeah, the hour, except in this 38 here. And that was the one that was after midnight. So the hour's always greater. The minute, I'm going to put greater than or equal to. Here it is not always greater than or equal to. Sometimes it's less, in which case I would want to add, 60 or whatever if the hour is greater. So I'm going to leave the minute as greater than. That's true. The minute is always greater, except for here, where the hour, I'm going to rerun this. Here, where the hour, wait, it was here, this section here. The hour is greater. And then the minute is greater. Here, the hour is less. Yeah, the hour is less, but the minute is greater. Greater. Section, the hour is not greater, but the minute is always, is the minute always greater? The minute is always greater. That's interesting. And then the seconds is kind of like, it's eh. But the minutes are always greater. No, they're not. I lied. Not for this section here. The hour is greater in that section though, but the minutes are not. And so that's just like a turnover, right? These are equal and then the minute is greater. The hour is not greater, but the minute is. Okay, so that's something that I was curious about. Is, you know, is basically, is the time always greater? And we can set this up, and that might be a little bit easier to do back when the time is in a different format, and we can kind of convert that format back and forth because of how we input stuff into our data table and what the discrepancy is for each one. That's what I want, a table output that has the discrepancy for each trial. I want to look at that data and try to understand it. And also I want to see if we can get some information on start time with GC type stuff. And so I know it sounds really simple whenever you say drop unnecessary data, but you have to define what unnecessary is. And that can be a little bit complicated. This is where I'm going to stop the stream today. I'm sorry it's a shorter stream. I hope it had some value for those of you out there in the world that might be watching this later on. If you have any questions about what I'm doing and how projects are going and kind of just what's going on, what I'm working towards, why I'm focusing on this time thing a little bit, feel free to post a comment and I will try to address those as stuff comes up. Here I'm going to put explore time and signal collection time discrepancies. I hope that's spelled right. If not, it's forever spelled wrong in my GitHub now. Let me double check this. I'm gonna go ahead and push up those commits. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see y'all tomorrow where we're doing latex. Bye.